Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
Good
My,
afternoon.
my name is Dr. Mrs. Mininim Oseji, and I'm here to make some opening remarks on this occasion of the webinar on sustaining green environment in the hospitality industry. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the webinar on sustaining a green environment in the hospitality industry, organized by the Ministry of Environment, Asaba, Delta State. I would like to inform you that there are 7 environmental related sustainable development goals, namely Goal 6, Goal 7, Goal 11, Goal 12, Goal 13, Goal 14, and 15. Coming from a medical background, I've always been concerned about Goal 3, which is health and well-being, thinking it's encompassed almost everything that mattered until I was deployed from the Delta State Ministry of Health to the Delta State Ministry of Environment, and I saw that the environment was much wider than health, as you can see from the 7 environmentally related sustainable development goals. The Ministry of Environment collaborates with several organizations to carry out training, research, advocacy, monitoring and evaluation, grant writing, awareness creation in order to preserve the environment. I would like to use this opportunity to highlight some of the efforts implemented by the ministry in this regard, particularly promoting a green economy. And they include organization of monthly environmental sanitation exercise, territorial approach to climate change with special emphasis on the use of clean cook stoves, recycling of waste materials like plastics, iron, paper, etc., greenhouse gas inventory program, celebration of World Environment Day and World Ozone Day, mitigating the impact of flood disaster, tree planting, awareness creation in reducing carbon footprints, environmental conservation and wildlife management, participation in the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Conference of Parties. It will interest you to note also that from Friday last week to Saturday, I participated in 5 physical and virtual events to commemorate International Women's Day. But the one organized by the Federal Government Girls College Owerri All Girls Association was the icing on the cake. We had 3 very talented lady speakers, women speakers, and they all gave presentations that were top notch. The one that we have here with us today as our guest speaker is Mrs. Uchenna Ibe, and she is an old girl of Federal Government Girls College, as you will see when I give her citation. One of the things I took home from her presentation was that every woman has about 10 things she can do creatively and intentionally. That resonated very well with me. Another thing she said was, my network is my currency. And that was mind-blowing. So I want to implore all those of you who have taken out time to be here to make a note to yourselves on which of the take-homes you are going to take for implementation right away. I want to thank His Excellency the Governor of Delta State, Right Honorable Elder Sheriff Oborowore, for creating the enabling environment for our ministry to contribute its quota in preserving the environment. I also like to thank the Honorable Commissioner for Environment, Mr. Ejiro Tommy Jamani, for his support. Thank you all for coming today, and may God bless you. I'm Dr. Mrs. Mininim Oseji, Permanent Secretary, Delta State Ministry of Environment, Asaba. On that note, I'm going to put off my camera so that I can ensure that my network allows me to do other things, particularly reading the citation of our guest speaker, as well as admitting others who are going to be joining in the webinar later. Thank you very much. The citation of Mrs. Uchenna Ibe. Uchenna Ibe is a visionary entrepreneur redefining soft furnishings in Africa. In 2006, almost 20 years ago, she founded Ivy League Collections, a contemporary textile-inspired brand, now in 20-plus retail stores with clients like Sheraton, Game Stores, and Wheat Baker. Her products have enhanced over 1 million homes and hotels across Africa. Committed to sustainability, she champions eco-friendly manufacturing and circularity, training fashion entrepreneurs and hospitality businesses. A passionate advocate for women's empowerment, she equips women with skills to thrive in business. Uchenna holds a BSc in Geography, an MBA in Entrepreneurship, and is a Goldman Sachs Growth Fellow. She is an alumna of Cranfield University, United Kingdom, Santa Clara University, United States, Cornell University, United States, and the Sustainability Center of Lagos Business School. She is also a fellow of Vital Voices GAP, AWE, and AWEC, as well as Nigeria's ambassador for Impact Her and a mentor maker for NASDAQ Entrepreneurs Center. Beyond entrepreneurship, Uchenna is a certified marriage and family counselor, helping couples and families build strong relationships. Her work has been featured on DSTV, Africa Magic, and Bank of Industry Impacts, and she recently spoke at the Africa CEO Forum on Gender Financing. Looking ahead, she plans to establish a textile waste management facility and local production hubs to serve Africa and beyond. When she made her presentation at the International Women's Day event of the Federal Government Girls College, Owerri, of which she is an old girl, just like myself, she took time to share her remarkable journey, insights, and experiences. So I would like to use this opportunity to call on Uchenna Ibe to go ahead and give her presentation. You're welcome, my dear sister.
Yes. Thank you so much. On mute. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, very clearly. I love your background.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon. I know the weekend is around the corner, so we don't want to keep you for too long. Thank you, my sister. It's a pleasure to be presenting today, and thank you for organizing this webinar. It's very, very necessary. I'd like to share my screen so that I can use some of the slides that will be necessary for us. Let me see.
Have you found where you will share? Just click on share and then upload accordingly. All right. Or if you're having challenges, you can send it to me via WhatsApp, and then, because sometimes if you're using a phone, it may be difficult to upload if it's not PDF, if it's just PowerPoint. So I don't know whether you're having that challenge.
Let me send to you by WhatsApp so you can help me quickly.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
But you can still go ahead and start, even if it's just giving us the preamble of your journey. I keep finding it so inspiring. I need to have a recording of that.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. Sorry, we have a little technical issue, but we'll sort it out soonest. So my name is Uchenna Ibe, and in a very long time ago, 17 years ago, I would say, I started a soft furnishing business. And this business started from my sitting room, actually. I was trained by my elder sister who was into interior design. And then she used to make a lot of beautiful soft furnishing products for hotels, for houses. And she had the biggest soft furnishing company back then in the eastern part of Nigeria. I was just out of school and I wasn't so keen on doing what that wasn't my trajectory, but she used to encourage me. She said, come along, come along. So when I started going around with her, I picked interest. I picked interest in the interior design business, and that's what I've been doing for years. It has taken me to so many places around the world. And then sometimes I run into people, and what they ask me is, Uche, are you still making bed sheets? Because the first people that knew when I started, it was all about bed sheets, duvets, duvet covers, curtains, and things like that. So they don't know how that business that we used to carry nylon bags and sell to people, sell in my children's school, sell in the church, and all of that, how it had become a business that has been receiving global awards and recognition. But over the years, what I'll say most importantly is tenacity, consistency, and focus. You know, just the fact that one is focused on what, and you have your goals aligned, that makes a lot of difference. So along the course of this business, I've sent it to you. So if you can open the slides, please. If you can put up the slides. Thank you.
I just got it. I'm doing that.
All right, thank you. So along the course of my interior design business and then supplying stores, I got to see that abroad there was a lot of talk on sustainability. In fact, the last program I attended, which was the GAP program by Vital Voices. Vital Voices is an NGO that Hillary Clinton and some top American business women and women in politics and leadership is an NGO that supports women in leadership and entrepreneurship. So I was among the 15 women across the world that got invited to the US for the Global Ambassadors Program out of 53 that we were initially when we started the course. And when I got there, I found out that the aspect of my business that interested them globally was not that I was an interior designer or that I had beautiful products in stores and I could supply hotels and all of that. That wasn't the interest. The interest was on the sustainability angle of my business and the social impact of my business. That was what excited them the most. And the fact that we repurpose, we reuse, and we upcycle textile waste, and have even gone ahead to encourage and train over 1,600 women in the last 16 years. You know, so that was what interested them most in my business, and that was why they took me to so many other places in the US just to tell my story and encourage other women in business. So from here, we started the sustainability. We started pushing for sustainability in hospitality industry because this is where I operate in. So we started pushing for sustainability through public enlightenment and also informing fashionpreneurs, because you know in Africa there's so many fashion entrepreneurs in Africa.
Just a minute. Do you have it in PowerPoint?
Yes, I have it in PowerPoint.
Send it to me as PowerPoint because your conversion to PDF did not open.
Okay. Okay. Then.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
All right. Let me send it to you. So we started looking at how, as a business, we could change the trajectory of interior design. How, as a business, we could contribute to the global energy reduction, sustainable practices, and being able to do better. It was a big concern to us, you know, as a business, that we were not, instead of being part of the solution, we were being part of the problem. So I decided to start training businesses and then working in partnership with hotels and other establishments, you know, and seeing how, as a group, because it's a very wide area that you can't, it's not something you can handle on your own. You need collaboration from government, from stakeholders, You need a lot of people to be involved in making sure that there's a lot to do, and there's a lot to learn. So it was important. It's very important in this line of business to have a lot of people who are, rooting for you and working with you in the sustainability industry. So a hotel like Wheat Baker in Victoria Island, I remember when I approached them. Oh, sorry,
Okay.
I'm just having, yeah. Hold on. Let me just, I'm sending it now. Okay, it's coming in PowerPoint now.
Thank you.
Through the email. All right, thank you. Sorry about that. So today we want to look at sustaining a green environment in the hospitality industry. What guests need to know. Sustaining a green environment in the hospitality industry, what the guests need to know. In order to run a sustainability industry, we have to understand that everything that we use has an effect. How we use it, how we keep it, and how we relate with it. Things in the environment has a lot of repercussion, both negative and positive, on the environment we live in. So it is our singular responsibility as people who are on Earth to keep our environment as safe as possible. I know most lately, all of us have been complaining about the heat. So if we begin to look at all that we do, the practices that we uphold, and how we have been abusing, I use the word abusing, the environment, we'll see that we are mostly the cause of what we are experiencing. Something as little as nylon bags. Nylon bags are non-biodegradable. That means it will take a minimum of 80 to 130 years, if ever, for nylon bags to disintegrate into the soil, into the environment. They are non-biodegradable. So when they get into the environment and they go into the dumps, it heats up with the environment, and the whole place just becomes, this is all the transferred energy that we're getting. Nylon bags, plastics, especially these popular disposable plastics that we use, it contributes so much to atmospheric heat and what we're experiencing. So here we're just going to focus on the hospitality industry and how we operate, both operators and also guests in the hospitality industry can do better, in conserving our environment. Yes, it's showing, but it's not expanded. Yeah, it needs to be really big.
It's in PDF. It's in PDF form.
Okay.
I'm using my phone, yes.
Oh, okay. So it's not coming out clearly. Okay, I can just, yeah. I'll go on while you're trying to help with it. I'll just go on with the presentation. So why are we talking about sustaining a green environment in the hospitality industry? The reason is because the hospitality industry is the largest consumer of energy, water, and raw materials, leading to significant environmental impacts. We have raising customer awareness and demand for sustainable practices are pushing businesses to begin to look at this sustainability. It's no more business as usual, and people are now more aware of the choices they can make to live more sustainably. So it's important that we look at this. Climate change, pollution, and resource depletion are threatening the environment, but also it will threaten the hospitality industry if care is not taken. And then implementing sustainable solutions reduces operational costs and improves brand reputation. Like on that trip we made to New York, we were put in a hotel that had all these stickers, and they were asking, do you want to opt in into our linen program? Do you want to come down to the dining to eat, or you want to scan your food? They had all these benefits. They had loyalty programs that you just scan. You come into the hotel room and you scan and you see the benefits that you get if you ask that your room is not cleaned out, or not, your room can be cleaned out, but the sheets and the towels will not be washed. These are all kinds of incentives that they were putting in that hotel. And I was very impressed. I know in Nigeria, I've only worked with Baker Hotel, and then I've also worked with Eco Village in Togo. I worked in Eco Village in Togo, which is a purely sustainable hotel. Everything there is powered by nature. It's so beautiful. And I'm thinking that hotels in Nigeria and the people who are running sustainable businesses in Nigeria can also adopt some of these practices. And then when we're talking about green hospitality, what is green hospitality? It's the integration of sustainable practices in the hospitality sector to minimize environmental impact while maintaining service quality. So you're just going to carry all these practices in the sustainable industry by reducing the amount of carbon footprints, or we call waste, that you put out into the environment, and then also still maintaining the high quality of service that you render to customers. This includes conserving energy, having water recycling systems in place, and using sustainable materials, and generally eco-friendly operations. Then we cannot talk about sustainability without looking at the process called circularity, which is the circular economy. And then what does the circular economy mean? It's just an economic system that is aimed at eliminating waste and continuously utilizing things. So you find yourself from one thing to another, from one thing to another. You start from a raw material, like let me say food, So let's say fruits. For a hotel that has that is very popular or does fruit salad, when you peel all of your fruits and then you have the waste, what do you do with it? You just throw it in the dustbin. So that is a non-sustainable method. But in circular economy practices, all that waste that you get from your food, which we even know from our secondary school studies, all that waste can form compost, which is manure, which even a hotel that has some space within it can plant their own vegetables. And what it does for the hotel, it improves their brand reputation, that you have your own vegetable garden. Because right now that many people are afraid of what we're eating, the sources of our food, and some people are using carbide to ripen vegetables and fruits and things like that, putting all manner of chemicals. So imagine if you were going to book a hotel as a customer and you see that they have their own vegetable garden. Personally, I would opt for that hotel. Because you're sure of what you're eating, you're sure of the sources of their compost and manure, and you're sure you're eating something that is fresh and healthy. So circular economy encourages the reuse of raw materials and recycling and refurbishment. Then why is sustainability, why is it essential in the hospitality industry? I'm sure you'll agree with me. You can put in the chat room. Do you agree with me that the hospitality industry is one of the highest ranking users of energy and water? If you agree with me, put in the chat room. Let me see that. If you agree with me that the hospitality industry, yes, Lillian agrees with me, Jennifer agrees with me. The hospitality industry, the concept that Nigerians have about hospitality means luxury. the utmost level of luxury. You go to the hotel, you want fresh sheets every day, you want you put on the tap. Some people run baths and it's overflowing. They even forget to put off the tap. Some people overflowed hotels. Some people put on their light and leave the hotel room, and this is unnecessary waste of utilities, and it actually costs the hotel a lot of money. Now we know there's a lot of waste from food in the hotels. When there's a buffet, you see how much food. If you've gone to in Lagos here, Sheraton buffet or Eco Hotel, you see how much food they provide in relation to the number of guests that they would have in the hotel. If they have 100 guests, they plan and make food for 100 guests. Maybe only 50 will come to the buffet. And traditionally, if you come to a buffet, you're not supposed to take food away. So people eat as much as they want, and then the rest of the food is wasted. The rest of the food is wasted. Some hotels do not encourage their staff to take the food home. Even if the staff take the food home, what about the extra cost it has come to be for the hotel owners? So some hotels adopt some systems that they'll say, are you coming for lunch? And they use digital platforms where you just scan in their room and they'll say, are you coming for lunch? Will you be at the buffet? And you say no, that you will not be at the buffet. So it helps them plan. So in the morning, they pass all this information to you. Now, the studies talking about sustainability is essential also in the hospitality business, because it helps meet government and environmental regulations and standards. And then for a hotel like the Wheat Baker now in Lagos, I have worked with them. I've done some products for them. They are standing out in Lagos as a hotel that is adopting circularity practices. So you can imagine the number of foreigners that come into Lagos. So as a customer, when you come into Lagos, you want to go to the Wheat Baker because of the kind of things they do. Then if you're a guest in an establishment, restaurant, hotel, even event planning, what can you do to enhance sustainability? What's essential? You can participate in the linen and towel reuse program. This is the most popular. It's very popular in the US, in the UK, Canada, and I hope it will start gaining traction here in Nigeria. When you participate in the linen and towel reuse program, as you sign in at the reception, what happens is that they will ask you, do you want to opt into this program? And you say yes. So what it means is that, when you have your bath, as a human being, you have your bath at home, you're not really dirty anymore, right? So in the hotels, we expect them to change our bedding every day. But really, you at home, you know that you use your towel minimum 2 days, right? You can use your towel. Some people use their towels 4 days. But when we go to a hotel, as our habit, because that's our habit, when we go to a hotel, we go there and we begin to drop the towels on the floor. Some people step on the towels and all manner of things. We just abuse them. We use it. Some people use it to even do cigarette, like they'll smoke and put the stubs on the hotel. And then the hotel the cleaners, room service has to come and collect all these things and wash again. So you as a customer can reduce the cost of running that hotel. And also remember that when you reduce the cost of running the hotel, they will apply some of that discount to you as a customer. If you go to the hotel and it's 60,000 a night or 160,000 a night, the fact that you have opted into that program, when you return as a customer, you get a discount on your room rate because you probably saved them maybe 60,000. You stayed for maybe 3 days. You saved them 60,000 in the hotel bill, just your room alone. You saved them 60,000. What that means is that you're going to get a discount. Maybe they can pass on 30,000 to you. So if you had such options in a hotel, would you visit that hotel? Let me see your responses in the chat room. If you had that kind of opportunity, would you revisit the hotel? I'd like to see your answers. If you had a hotel that's practice sustainability and they offer discounts when you opt into their bed and linen programs, would you revisit the hotel? Because you know you're going to be offered a discount. Now, I'm sure most of you would say yes to that. I'm sure most of you would say yes to that. Now, how do we navigate waste management? How would you navigate waste management in hotels? This can be done through more reasonable their energy, the water systems in place, the food served, then even initiatives that are taken up. I'm sure when we look at Kenya and some of these East African countries, Zanzibar, we see how they have really, really optimized their, we'll see how they've optimized their tourism by being more sustainable. You enter like the background behind me. You can see the background behind me. This is an eco hotel in, I mentioned to you, it's called the Eco Village and Resource, Greenstone Eco Village and Resource Center in Togo. I had the privilege of fixing their bedding and all their soft furnishing in that hotel. And people come from all over. People come from all over to that hotel because of what they offer. They offer a lot of natural things. And the most important thing is that when we are living and breathing in a very clean environment, it's also good for our health, isn't it? It's good for our health. So yes, somebody said in the chat room, yeah, Dr. Jennifer said in the chat room, like the Green Community Marriott, that's also a very fantastic eco hotel. Most of the things there are natural and then very comfortable for the customers. Now, as a customer, there is something called the circular diagram or the circular economy diagram, where every single resource from energy is on the screen, if you can see it now. Every single resource from energy to water systems, to the food we eat, everything is recycled, reused, repurposed. And then what this does is that there is minimum waste let out into the environment. Next slide, please. Our green initiatives. So for hotels, what can you do? Hotels, even in your homes, you can use LED lighting and renewable energy sources like solar panels to reduce carbon emissions. Then the customer, what are you supposed to know in this instance? It means that if you as a customer to an establishment, a hotel or all of that, what it means is that you're in an environment where natural sources of light are used, where there is solar paneling, and that means you're deriving the energy from the sun. At night, it switches over. This is a healthier environment by a long haul. You can't beat that. Okay, when it comes to waste conservation, water, the showers are in a way that they are moderate. It's not those excessive shower heads that when you put it, water will scatter everywhere. This is another way of saving water for the fishes in the ocean. I want you to have a consciousness as a customer that whenever you use a lot of water or we leave our taps running in our homes, we're reducing the water in the water bodies all over the world. Some of us brush our teeth. We leave the tap on, continue brushing our teeth. Some people do that. If you're guilty, let me see your hand up if you're guilty, or in the comment section, just text guilty. Just text that you're guilty if you do this. Most of us do it. Most of us do this. We just keep brushing our teeth and we leave the tap on. When we wash also, we use more water than we should use. So when you go to the hotels, guilty sometimes. Okay, some people are guilty sometimes. Some people are guilty all the time, So we'll go to win-win strategies for businesses and customers. Next slide, please. We'll go to win-win strategies. What are these strategies that we can adopt? If you run a business and you adopt sustainability measures and you're transparent, integrity is everything in business. Integrity is everything. So when you're telling your customers, this is what I do, this is how I use water, this is what we do here to make a choice, and you have your conscience. As a human being on earth, you have the conscience that what I do affects the quantity of water in the oceans. It affects the ecosystem. It affects aquatic life. It causes imbalance, because Earth, the ground that we live on, has a particular amount of water that should be there. Now, some hotels, even restaurants, they use the water generating system where they collect water collection systems, where they collect water, and after they recycle it. Now, if customers know that water is pure and is free of chemicals, I think they will like that also. And then as a guest in a hotel, you also have the responsibility to join community efforts. It's actually fun. It's actually fun. Some guests go to hotels, and what they do is they just see like a garden patch, and one of the hotel staff will say, would you like to visit our farm? You can just go there, go and help them water the garden. This is the vegetable you're eating. Sometimes they're doing tree planting exercises. You join them. Sometimes they're feeding the fish. They have aquariums in the hotels, and you can be part of those people feeding the fish in the hotels. You're on vacation or you're on a work trip, but you just have a few moments to spend. So you can join all those kind of initiatives. Next slide, please. Now, what are the best strategies for customer compliance? If you're a customer in an established, like a restaurant or a hotel, and you're provided clear initiatives about what the hotel is doing, and they bring out for you recycle bins, sustainable options along the corridors. They have taps, those taps that when you want to wash your hand, you wash your hand, immediately you take out your hand. They have sensors. As a customer, don't put your hand there when you know that you're not washing your hand again. Some of us do it. We'll just put our hand because we want the water to keep running when you know your hands are already clean, and you want it to be squeaky clean, but it's already clean. Some of those excesses that we put up, we should be, aware of how it affects the environment, and then when they encourage you to use digital check-in, QR code for your menu, and I'm sure most of you are familiar with the smart keys now, the card that they give you in hotels. So when you go to a hotel that uses smart keys, QR codes, you're also saving a lot of energy, and you're saving paper, you're saving the environment. You use the smart key to check into your room. Even sometimes the airlines are already doing it now. They don't even print, even locally, our popular airlines, they don't print boarding passes again, but some of them do print. And then even when you want to check in, you're not required to print your tickets anymore. They encourage you to show your ticket on your phone, and if you have experienced it abroad, when there's e-check-in, you don't have to carry all those documents, like some countries like Canada, some countries in the US, they have also started encouraging e-check-in. So from the airport there, you just put in your documents, you scan it, and the less paperwork that needs to be done for customers who are traveling, you see how much you're saving the environment. So, and then if you're leveraging technology, using digital check-in, QR code, that is your responsibility as a customer in a hospitality environment establishment to be part of the success recorded. And then even part of a more global movement of saving the environment. You're part of it already by these small things you do. And then, some hotels, they provide you with free drinks, and they provide bonus loyalty points. Like I mentioned in the beginning, when you check in and then you use the bed and linen program and some other programs they have. And sometimes they'll ask you, can you imagine a hotel asking you to order what you can eat? And you'll be thinking, are they all right? Is it not my money? I can order what I want. But some of us go to hotels, we order more than we can eat, especially at the buffet. We go to the buffet, we take more than we can eat onto our plates, and then that is wasted. But when the food has not been touched at all and it's still in the buffet tray, there's a chance that it can be reused, either to feed the community which is also a way of alleviating poverty or other things. Or it can be put in the compost, but sometimes we go and take food more than we can finish, and then it converts immediately to waste. So a customer should know that you don't abuse these things. Patronize hotels that offer you bonus loyalty points, and then just choose sustainable options when you're asked. So I want to mention the Eco Lodge. The next slide, please. The Eco Lodge, which is a hotel I had spoken to you about in Togo, that uses all their beds are wood. Their lighting is LED and solar, mostly solar generated. You know, they have a lot of indoor plants that are very, very nice. And if some of you are familiar with feng shui, you know, the balancing of nature and balancing of the aura around you, known as feng shui. This is also very good for you when you want to relax. They position the beds, the furniture, and everything in the hotel, and generally in the hotel, to be very comfortable, you know, and you get a lot of rest. Next slide, please. I think we're almost done. Okay. We'll come back to this as action plans and next steps. We'll come back to that. Please, next slide, please. Okay. We'll skip this slide and the next 3 slides because they are all on action plans and next steps. So at this point, I would just like to ask in the chat box, would you go to a hotel that offers you, as a customer, would you go to a hotel that offers you sustainable solutions? Or would you go to a regular hotel that, if you had the option, regardless of price, what would be your preference? Please put in the chat room. What would be your preference if you were to use a hotel that offers sustainable options? Or do you think that ultimate luxury is using 5 towels a day? Are you concerned about the environment? Dr. Ali says she's concerned about the environment. Yes, yes. Our host says that she likes the wheat baker. She'll prefer the wheat baker to a co-hotel. I want us to understand the extent. Yeah, I'm still expecting. Would you prefer a hotel that gives you loyalty points when you use your towels maybe twice a day? Use your towel every 2 days or every 3 days instead of them removing it every day? Would you be open as a customer to use the loyalty points and also use their digital and digital check-in options, even as you're traveling? This is also part of the hospitality industry. Even as you travel, you check in online instead of printing your tickets and everything, and then as you print your ticket, know that the paper that you're using is from wood in the forest that is supposed to be protecting our environment, you know, and you know that wood and natural vegetation helps to limit the excessive outpouring and emission of carbon emissions and reducing carbon footprints. So I think at this time, Nigeria has come of age that we should be more concerned about, you know, how we treat the environment, so the environment can be nice to us. If you know, at this time, from last year, you were hearing about flooding. Look at the wildfires in the US. Look at the wildfire even in New York. Look at flooding in China. Look at flooding all over the world. This is a general problem all over. So let's not say we're in Nigeria, so it's not peculiar to us. Anywhere that we are, and we're not mindful of the environment, it's going to affect us in how we eat, how we use electricity. You know, it's not the time of being a big man because all your ACs are on. You can switch to solar instead and power 1 or 2 ACs in your house and still be comfortable. You know, reduce the emission, you know, into the environment. Let's all join hands, whether as customers or as people who are running hotels, restaurants, event planners, airlines, people in the hospitality business. let us all join hands and build a more eco-friendly environment by adopting circularity practices in our day-to-day living. Some hotels also, in conclusion, some hotels have even employed a staff in housekeeping that goes around putting off all the lights. They don't wait for normal housekeeping. Immediately people are checking out of hotels or when people leave their rooms, one staff can visit 400 bedrooms, just putting up the lights. Because the hotel is trying to save cost, you know? They're trying to save cost. So even we as customers have to be responsible for all this type of behavior, and we should not leave it for government or leave it for the businesses, you know, because it's at the end of the day, it affects us. So I'll be closing my presentation here, and I'll be waiting for your questions. Do you have questions for us? Thank you.
Thank you very
much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have really done justice to this topic. I've learned so much. There are a couple of things you said which I already knew and had seen in some hotels, but you gave the whole gamut of it, which I think is very beneficial to our ministry, because next week we're going to be having a training of trainers on food hygiene for them to now go and train food vendors and so on and all that. So this is also like an additional information that we could use. And the issue of the amount of utilities used in the hospitality industry, it can never be emphasized, because yesterday the commissioner and myself were discussing defaulting hotels that discharge their effluents. Their effluents come from their kitchen sink, comes from their sewage, which is from the bathrooms and so on. And they discharge it into the open drain. And these are not untreated. And this will now flow through the community, go into the waterways that people use for fishing, for washing, and so on and all that. And that is pollution. So I just asked an innocent question, because I have had opportunity to go to investigate some hotels that there have been complaints about. And the first thing we look at is whether they have soakaways. And so I said, did their hotel that is discharging their wastewater, do they not have soakaways? And they said the soakaways, they all have, but that their volume of water that they discharge is so much that it would have required almost every other month or so for them to call the sewage vans to come and be clearing their soakaways. And they don't want to do that because of the cost of doing that. So you can see what you are saying just came alive. That if they could manage the water, conserve the water, such that the soakaway doesn't fill up, then there will be no need for them to be discharged. And they do this discharge in the night when all the regulators have gone home. So I just want to bring home how important it is to conserve water, how important it is to conserve all these things using these principles and strategies that you have suggested. And then I also said that for me, I just have this habit of going with my own towels. I go with small towels. I can go with so many. So if I use them a couple of days, I can wash, or I can even wash immediately. I finish, and then next day I have another one so that the first one is drying and all that. So when I get into a hotel, all those nice 5 towels, different sizes, I just neatly pack them and go and put them in one corner so that they will know they have not been used and they will not need to wash them. So that's my own contribution to the environment. So what I'm saying now is that it is true that we need to know these things and we need to create awareness. And if, in fact, I was watching a movie 2 days ago, and a couple, a young couple, they were talking about how they met because they had been engaged. And the boy or the man or the young man said he tried for 5 months to get her attention. That's the girl. But she didn't give him chance because she had so many issues with him. And one of the things that she had against him was that he was not recycling. So because it was not recycling, she felt she wouldn't be able to date somebody that doesn't recycle. That's how passionate some people can be about the environment. So even on
Definitely.
the first date, they ask you, do you believe in, preserving the environment? Do you believe in going for walks in the parks and so on? And then what you said about the feeding the fish and watering the gardens, oh my God, I find it intoxicating. I need to go to that place because I want to feed fish right now. After feeding fish, I can eat it later in the day.
Yes, you
But
feed the fish you eat.
yes, we are doing so much about environmental conservation. We're trying to have aquaria and we're trying to have bird actuaries and so on and all that. So that is what our Department of Environmental Conservation is doing. In fact, we are planning for a botanical and zoological fair so that people will come back to nature. But we've
Yes.
lost it. And when we had a meeting last week with one of our partner institutions, I said, the last time I can think of even seeing birds before I got to the permanent secretary's quarters where I can take walks in the morning and I can see birds was probably when I was small, maybe like 10, 15, and then you see those white birds flying and you begin to sing Chokolokobangoshi and things like that. I can't remember sitting down and even watching birds. And when I do that, I feel happy. Maybe it's my age, I don't know. But it's like life has just passed me by and I've not been smelling the roses, observing nature. And I feel that is part of the reason there's a lot of criminality. Because if you observe nature and you imagine how good God is, anytime I go to the beach and I see the waves, I just start singing, how great thou art. Somebody
Mhm.
who is always observing nature cannot be a criminal because you have the fear of God in you. So on
Yeah.
that note, I would like to ask one or two questions. And then please, if you have questions, raise your hand or post it in the chat so that in the next couple of minutes, we can wrap up. Now, the questions I had were, suggest mechanism for initiating the following: lowering carbon footprint. You've told us a bit about that, so I don't want us to go there. I just want to mention it. Safeguarding biodiversity. I really would like to know a bit more about that if you have that information. You have talked about decarbonizing the hospitality sector. I used to hear about that, but I never understood that. But from your presentation, I now know how to decarbonize the hospitality sector. Then achieving net zero by 2030. So that is something I do not know if you have that information. Plastic
Oh,
to diesel initiative. Do you have any information on that? And now
plastic.
to diesel, plastic to diesel initiative.
Okay.
Yes. And then the other one is guest education on new ways to sustain green environment in the hotel. So you've told us a couple of things. All these loyalty rewards and these various things that they do, and then you can get a discount and so on. These are a few, but if there are others that you've not mentioned, we would love to know. And you do recall that there are a good number of hotels now that, because they use the card system to open the door, that card is also supposed to enter into that slit on the wall, so that if you don't put that card there, it means that the lights will not come on. So that is another way that I have noticed some hotels are using to conserve energy. The truth is, for those who want to understand about reducing your carbon footprint, it is from the energy you consume, like lights for your fridges, for your generator, for your bulbs, and all those things, your fans and air conditioner. If you want to lower your carbon footprint, you have to lower that. Then the other one is from your generating sets, that diesel. And then the other one is from your vehicle. So anything you do to reduce that, you will reduce your carbon footprint. And automatically, by reducing your carbon footprint, you will reduce money. Because if you put all the lights and the NEPA bill comes down, is it not money that you're saving yourself? So it's a habit that we just need to form. So how do we really, not maybe not just the guests that stay in the hotels, but everybody? What is the education that we can offer to make a big difference, not just a small difference? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to hear about the initiative that the state government will be taking. And if you would like me to be part of it, I'll be delighted. The reason being that so many state governments have not come forward to look at the environment and even begin to checkmate some of the practices. We're still more at survival stage, and we have gone beyond that. The world has moved on. And then you find out that it's just lately that Lagos state government, through the office of the special advisor, on a circular economy and sustainability that they started pushing, and also the Lagos State Waste Management Board started pushing on this takeaway plates. Because of the fast-paced nature of people in the urban areas, and then everybody's buying food, they're on the way, they're on the go. Simple things like having your own container. Just a small, cute container that you take to work. You want to buy food on the way to work, still buy food, but have your container. Take your container to work. When you come back, you wash it. Instead of using takeaway plates every single day. I went to a friend's house and she had, to be modest, over 100 takeaway plates that she had been using for years. And even cockroaches are living in her kitchen because of it. Some of us just keep these plastics mounting up, and then, it's not healthy as well for us. So the guest education and new ways to sustain, we had mentioned a few of them. Another way is, indoor plants are very healthy for us. There's a plant called the money plant, among so many other plants. Some hotels can adopt indoor plants. And as you check in, if you want to opt into the program, again, it's optional. You check into the hotel, they give you a plant. And then they give you the measurements you'll be putting in the plant every day. And this is for your own good, for you to breathe better, right? So when you have those indoor plants, it generates oxygen better, the circulation is better, and is beneficial to your health, and as well as the general air circulated in the hotel. So when you're checking out, as they're checking out, you check out with your plants, and you return it to like an area in the lobby where you see other plants. So when you do that, you attract loyalty points as well, So you attract loyalty points, and this can be added to your next visit. I see a hand is up. Dr. Jennifer, I'll take your question soon. So in another instance, we've talked about the bed linen and hotel. Then we can also raise conservation spaces within hotels or gardens. Raise conservation spaces, form community development groups, like even the Federal Ministry of Hotel or Federal Ministry of Environment in Delta State can decide to have 2 Saturdays or 2 days in a week, just for 1 hour, where they will go to a park in the state and tend the park, water it, just take care of the plants there. Because the more green energy you have in your environment, the clearer your air will be and the purer it will be. Those are a few things I've said there. Then achieving net zero by 2030 is a world order. It's a collective effort, and it can only be done through complete and continuous sensitization. We have to keep shouting it. We have to keep shouting it from the rooftop. We have to keep giving incentives, teaching and catching them young from primary schools, even nursery school. There's a teaching manual for nursery schools, even songs like Michael Jackson sang, Heal the World, Make It a Better Place. You can do so much with all those kind of things. Putting it in the curriculum, like it's done. China is one of the countries in the world that are most highly, that face a lot of pollution. They have adopted a lot of green mechanisms, on trying to revamp and purify their air. There's a place in Canada called Vancouver. They say it's one of the best places to live in the world. They are very, very finicky about the green economy. Japan is also known as one of the best places in the world, best countries in the world that has obtained almost this achieving net zero by 2030. There are some cities in Japan that everything in it are built sustainably. And the fun part of it is that these cities that are built like that, it costs less to maintain them because they derive most of the processes and the materials used are derived from nature. So it's very easy. Nature that is just flowing in abundance around us. So these are some of the things that can be done to achieve net zero by 2030. Then when you asked about safeguarding biodiversity, we can actually start, like I said, in Lagos State. You see the green areas in Lagos State. I haven't been to, your state to see how the government Ministry of Environment has captured a lot of green spaces, national parks, wildlife reserves, marine sanctuaries, and conserving habitats and species. Then again, we can have more sustainable practices by promoting sustainable agriculture, forestry, fishing practices that minimize environmental impact and protect wildlife. Then we can embark on restoration efforts as well, engaging in habitat restoration, like you have the Lekki Conservation Area in Lagos, and protecting endangered species and their habitats, we can do that. Yeah, we can actually, like, in Kenya, all those wild forests and reserves, yes, wild animals. Before, poaching was so terrible in those places, yes. And if you see on CNN, you continuously see you continuously see advertising on how you should safeguard wildlife, because that balances the ecosystem. Everything that God created has its role in life. So when you extinct a particular role, there's something that they do. There is something that they do. So when we begin to have extinction of certain species, the ecosystem is no longer balanced. And then community engagement. We can involve our local communities. Okay, I'll give you an example. Benue State is food basket of Nigeria. Benue State. Can you imagine a hotel in Benue State that has on the internet that they serve a very fresh pounded yam with vegetable soup as one of their or that they have this special night, Friday night, where they make yam sauce and blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, a lot of people will go there. If you come to Enugu State, that is another food basket of Nigeria that has a lot of fruits, you can say that you're going to be tasting, as you enter, let me give the hotel a name. Nono, let me say the name is Nono, a hotel in Enugu State. And everybody loves Abalomo. Most people love Abalomo or the Udara. And you say guests are welcome at our hotel with in-season fruits. How much can Abalomo cost a hotel? You buy and source locally, thereby patronizing the local farmers, the local community, and they can even create a difference by having these local girls, maybe one or two of their staff, dressed in the traditional wear of that Enugu State, and then serving these bowls of udara with native baskets. Then they'll package it for you in a tray, take it up to your room. They say, would you like some udara? This is fresh from the farm, fresh from the farm. I will go back home. Most people will go back. So that puts you to creating your value, your value proposition. You have something, an edge over the other hotels in that place. But many hoteliers need to wear their thinking caps. Restaurants need to wear their thinking caps. Restaurants that are located in different parts of Nigeria need to put on their thinking caps and begin to create their differentiation. And in practicing sustainability, they'll be able to achieve this by just using what you source locally, to create a differentiation. They're also saving their environment. Then we can educate, create awareness, through educational programs, campaigns that foster a culture of conservation. We can address climate change, mitigate against things that affect climate change. This is reducing greenhouse gas emission and promoting renewable energy resources, which we have talked about. Then also, we can integrate biodiversity considerations in our development and planning and economic policies in the state to ensure that growth does not come at the expense of natural ecosystems. Sometimes a state government will say, this land, okay, this is now the new University of Nigeria, Nsukka, without checking the diversity of and the biodiversity in that area. It could be a place that is densely populated by animals, a lot of forests, plants and things. If you notice, like even in Dubai, they go and build in the desert, even though the whole Dubai is desert, but they go to barren places to build, places that are not very fertile. That's where people build. I had the privilege of visiting the African Leadership University in Kigali, Rwanda, and their university campus is built in an area that is a little like savanna area overlooking a beautiful valley. So that valley is untouched. And you can imagine the biodiversity in that place. All manner of cash crops, animals, that are coexisting and making that environment very sustainable. So in government policies and in development and planning, they also have to look at what each area offers to be able to maintain proper biodiversity in that area. So
Thank you.
This is all I can say. We have a hand raised by Dr. Jennifer. Maybe you can unmute her to ask her question. Yeah, Dr. Jennifer has her hand raised.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Minima. Thank you, Uche. Thank you, Dr. Minima. This is very, very informative, and I'm so happy you being one of our past national presidents. And I pray the national body can have a session of this. What I wanted just to contribute, one was to thank you. Two was to contribute about how we can help in the hotel. Most of us don't realize that in the developed world, waste is actually recirculated. The water goes through a recirculation system. And that is another way of trying to cut down on carbon emission. Coming to waste that comes from the hospitality industry, from food and co, they're actually taken into a place where they are degraded to power energy, just like what we have in the poultry systems in some farms that operate in Asia and co. Then when we go to the hotel, like what we see, because we don't even realize, it's just like a common thing we are guilty of. Some of us use like wipes for babies and co, plug up pipes and co. And mind you, like a place where you have the central sewage system, this is contributory to the infestation of rodents and co, because then there's no free flow of such things. So I'm really impressed that Delta State, under your this thing, has this in place. Then our hotels again, which I think you should take back when people are doing it. Most of the time, you enter a hotel room and you can't breathe because they don't even emphasize on proper ventilation. If proper ventilation is done, I just saw something on the internet where somebody was complaining that in the olden days, and if you look at it, houses that were built in the tropics had very massive windows that you push out. Now, our architects are actually building windows that are smaller. Then somebody said, except to Jos, you should not even have small windows. And somebody that said, even in Jos, have the big windows. Do you get? So if there's a lot of proper ventilation done by these hotel architects, then I think there'll be less on the use of energy like the ACs and co. And some of these rooms we know, like I had a bad experience when I came to Port Harcourt in that presidential hotel. I just got in there and I just reacted because I have asthmatic bronchitis because the room was so stuffy. Do you understand? So I think that I really want to thank you for this particular program. Coincidentally, like I said on the platform, Uche is my immediate elder sister. I didn't even know she was going to be on this. And I'm like, whoa. I didn't know. I just got to say, yeah, that's my immediate elder sister, same father, same mother. So I know she does a lot of talk. I'm like, Dr. Minima Uche, how come? So thank you so much. And please bring this thing on. It's really informative. Thank you and God bless.
You're welcome. So I still have one more question for you, Uchenna. I think in another 5 minutes we should be rounding up because we said 1 hour, 30 minutes. Can you mention some environmentally friendly building materials you know of and where they can be obtained? Because this issue of what she has said, the architects ensuring that they build in a sustainable manner, ensure the ventilation is done and so on. There is an eco village in Port Harcourt, and the architect is an old girl from University of Port Harcourt. Chinwe, and she has been promoting sustainable housing for a long time. She has articles which I'm going to share. Chinweke Ohajarukwa. So I don't know if you can just give us a few tips so that when we are doing our advocacy to the hospitality industry that we are going to engage next week, we will be able to start sensitizing them right away on even when they are doing their new buildings, their renovations, what type of environmentally friendly building materials they should use.
Okay, I think we're so blessed. We have them in abundance in Nigeria. We have a bamboo. Bamboo grows rapidly, so it doesn't take. When we use bamboo for building and for construction, is like an alternative to traditional timber. It can be used for construction applications, like flooring, roofing, and scaffolding. Before they'll use planks, regular timber to do scaffolding when you want to paint, when you want to go upstairs and put railings and all that. But bamboo also holds strong as well. So bamboo is an option. Then compressed earth blocks. The clay soils. There's a company in Lagos called Clay Industry in Oregu. There's a company in Lagos called Clay Industry in Oregu. They're very good. They make a clay. They make soil from they make blocks from soil, then cement and water. They compact it and it's very strong and durable. And they are energy efficient and regulate indoor temperatures as well. Especially the clay, and is also used for swimming pools. Is actually one of the best building blocks you can use in doing houses. Then there's this thing called stabilizing agent, like cement, to create walls. It's a mixture of soil and cement. They use it in creating walls. They also have very low carbon footprint. Then recycled materials. Do you know that using recycled textile, which is what I plan to build in Nigeria? My dream is to build the first textile waste industry in Nigeria, and I've already started making effort. I'm in partnership with Leeds, University of Leeds in the UK, and Goldman Sachs. I have been giving mentors on how I can get funding for that project. I said Nigeria needs a textile waste recycling plant because we're over 200 million in Nigeria, and Nigerians are very fashionable, both the rich and poor. I don't know if there's any Nigeria that has just 5 dresses. Even if you're the poorest, you have more than 5. And then the amount of waste that we generate from textile is unbelievable, both in clothing, in houseware, in just name it. Nigerians use a lot of textile. So textile waste is good for making panels. Textile waste, when compressed, I've been studying a company in France. They're very good with textile waste. Another company in India as well. They have existing textile waste production generation plants. So we have so much that we haven't even started utilizing. Our textile waste, plastic waste, recycled plastic waste. Do you know recycled plastic waste can be used to build a whole nursery school playground? All those broken chairs from churches, from everywhere, from bottles, PET bottles, all of them. Do you know there's a company in India, also in Japan? They are building toys for children with recycled plastics, and they're also building partitioning in classrooms, with all these recycled plastics. So we have quite a lot. And then we have low emission paints that reduce indoor pollution. We have low emission paint made from natural sources. Then we have locally sourced stone, natural stones. Our natural stones are used for landscaping, flooring. As you can see, most houses now, they're using natural stone to do flooring, landscaping, used for walls. And then the other one we use is straw bales, which are used for insulation, but it has to be an eco-friendly building and they have to be conscious of the fire. There have to be a lot of information on fire because, there are straw insulations used for the walls. So some eco-friendly materials are not available, but these ones I mentioned, we can find in Nigeria. Most of these ones I mentioned, we can find them in Nigeria, especially the clay and the textile. These are all available. And also the bamboo, especially bamboo. You can imagine the number of construction sites that go on every day. If we can switch from all those planks to bamboo, that's a big, big save on the forest. Thank you.
Thank you. We're wrapping up now. So from your slides, I've borrowed these action plans and next steps. Guidance, I'm just going to read the main topics, not the details. Guidance and focus, measurable progress, stakeholder engagement, risk management, train staff and communicate with guests, monitor, measure and report, collaborate, engage with green programs, make informed choices, support local initiatives, and stay informed. So basically, these are the things that we will be doing in the next couple of weeks. What you have shared with us is so rich. Even if I went for a conference and I paid 50,000 naira, I am not sure that I would have gone home with so many take homes. So I want to, on behalf of the Ministry of Environment, Delta State, as well as all the participants, I want to thank you, my Fedi sister from FGGC Owerri Old Girls Association. That's where we met, and the CEO of Ivy League Collections. I believe that if we want to move Nigeria and Africa forward, we need to learn to copy and paste. Too many times we have situations where people go for even physical meetings that they are sponsored with thousands of dollars or thousands of naira, and they don't even take home anything. When people saw on our 82 class, because I'm class 82 of Federal Government Girls College, they saw that the person that spoke on Saturday her photograph is on the same poster with Mininim, of class 82, that within 1 week, we've already hooked up. It shows that, in fact, if we just continue with this tempo, we'll be able to change the whole of Nigeria. So there's so much information that we have received today. If each one of us, we're about 24 at some point. If each one of us decide to take one and implement for the next 1 month, you will see how things will just begin to change. The problem is that people hear and they don't do. And it is biblical that be not hearers of the word only, but doers. So my charge is for as many who have heard these words, beautiful words that have been shared by Mrs. Uchenna Ibe, please find your own niche where you go and do. I hope that is okay. On that note, I want to say thank you so much for joining us for this webinar. We are going to get the recording out, put it on YouTube, and we are going to use it as part of one of our tools for continuous sensitization and engagement. Thank you, Uchenna, for being a blessing to us this evening. God bless you all. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for coming.